about boxing greats. Boxer, the one belt, African-American boxers. Just images of various boxer who won belts.
What? Oh shit. Hey, everybody know Team Crawford. Y'all know I get active.
My little nigga shoot shit.
Teach your son to be a fighter. I bring him up to be a
No,
fighter.
sir.
Why wouldn't you let him be a fighter?
For what?
Well, I mean, you're a fighter. I mean, why wouldn't you?
I had to be a fighter.
You would have been something else.
If I could have went to school and got an education and could speak, say, 3 or 4 languages fluently and got a good trade in life, I forgot all about fighting.
Would you?
Yeah.
What did you, when you were at school, I mean, did you miss out on education?
No, I didn't miss out. I wouldn't learn. I didn't know the value of it. I was a little black boy in Kentucky, didn't know nothing about it. I'd be on your show, didn't know nothing about it. I'd be a world champion, playing hooky, playing with the girls, just going to recess and eating lunch and joking, not knowing the value of education like many children do today. I know the value of education now. So I'm going to brainwash my children now.
What's going on, man? We live today. It's the Ocean 40. Like, comment, and subscribe. And if you don't want to do that, something, if you got your manicure just now and all that, something wrong with your fingers, you can scan it right here in this little corner right there. Scan that thing up there and jump to that page and give me that sub. Today I'm gonna be talking about do Black American fighters get a fair shot at boxing? The hypocrisy in modern day boxing. But I'm gonna talk about 6 boxers in particular. In no particular order. But I just wanted to talk about them real fast. We'd be a bit for a minute, like a little half an hour, something like that. Probably an hour, depending. You know what I mean? So, in today's time, man, in the modern day time, man, boxing it just got real funny, It just got real funny. So, it's like the way the boxers think today is different than the way the boxers thought back in the days, because there was a lot of other things involved in boxing, which is still involved now in boxing, because boxing always been a cultural, political sport. You can always see certain ways of how people are, especially through boxing. Not basketball, not football, not tennis. Tennis is expected. Boxing is something in particular. It's a funny kind of sport. You know what I mean? It's one of those real funny kind of sports where you can hide a lot of your feelings, your true feelings. Behind boxing. So, text real quick. Yeah, so like I was saying, boxing is just funny today. And we're gonna try to make it better, man. We're gonna try to, educate these people on boxing so we can talk correct and enjoy the sport like we used to enjoy it for real. Because the daytime boxing just got kind of, it got kind of out of hand, in words to say. I mean, really out of hand. So, hold on a second. Yeah, like really out of hand. So, but we're gonna go through this real quick, man. Talk about some boxers that been through some controversy really out of hand. So, but we're gonna go through this real quick, man. Talk about some boxers that been through some real controversy really out of hand. So, but we're gonna go through this real quick, man. So, we gotta do this thing like this. So, yeah, okay. Got it together, got it together. Yeah, but that's how that thing go. So, here we go, man. Let's go run through our list of boxes. You know what I mean? And see how this thing is, man. First one, man. We know this as being just a black boxer champion in any era, in any division. It's just a thing. It's just a thing that a lot of people, a lot of people just don't like it. You know what I mean? It's kind of funny. They're against it. I don't want to say it, but they like their culture. They want their culture because boxing is one of those sports where you have a culture behind you. You know what I mean? It's not a team sport. You have a culture behind you. You literally bring a whole culture, especially if you become like world champion and multi-division world champions. And you know what I mean? And the ones that don't get as the credit they're supposed to get as a world champion is Americans, and most definitely Black Americans, because we was taught to just they don't like each other for some reason. We was still taught to like the other person. I mean, you can get into that all the way into it, but this video ain't about that. We just talking about the boxers that actually went through, all their trials and tribulations going throughout the times of their career. So here we go, man. First one we're gonna go with is my man right here, man. We gotta go with my man Jackie Jack. Been through a lot. Been through a whole lot. So yeah, Jack Johnson, man. So been through a whole lot. This guy's hold on one second. Take this twist out. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, so Jack Johnson, the first heavyweight champion. You know what I mean? But at this time, it was so racial. It was so racially motivated. The laws of the media. And like it was really bad. You had the Mann Act. He got convicted of the Mann Act. You know what I mean? And they just dog Jack. They dog Jack real bad. Real bad. I know he had when he beat James Jeffrey. Yeah, James Jeffrey. Just right here, we beat James Jeffrey. Riots broke out across the U.S. That's what I mean when I say like boxing is a culture sport, a culture political sport. It's really deep. It's really deep. It's probably deeper than I can probably explain it for you. You know what I mean? It's probably deeper than that. You probably could just dig, and get real deep with this because the Mann Act is involved. Riots. You couldn't get seen with white girls, and you couldn't be seen with a white girl. You couldn't beat a white guy. You couldn't just do nothing to the white culture. At this time, you couldn't. Nothing would accept it. Nothing. No gray area at all. You could barely walk around. You know what I mean? And as a heavyweight champion of the world, you think now when you're a heavyweight, you get targeted by other fighters and other scandals, and it be kind of because the world is so soft now. It's not as tough as it was. See, then it was no gray area. You couldn't even be heard to be seen with a white girl. You would get it for that. So it was really bad for him. So when he beat the dude, Jeffries is just, you know what I mean? It was a heavyweight. He the fan favorite. You got the white guy, the heavyweight. Held it down for like 5-6 years. Retired, came back, and fought Jack, like these boxers do today. Come back and fight somebody that's live and kicking. he lost his title and he caused a riot. You know, it was one of those fights of the century. They say it was one of the fights of the century. Come back against Jack Johnson, July 4th, 1910. Ooh, that's 61 years before boom. They was doing you dirty that. He defeated Jeffries by a TKO in the 15th round. That's when they go 15 rounds. So, you know, sometimes you can't talk to these these younger ones today because, you know, they into the 12 round era. You know what I mean? They don't know nothing about the 15 round era. They into the 12 round era. When things got, you know, soft. They ain't in there when you used to sit there and get 25 times before the ref stopped the fight. When you in the corner or you getting beat up and you dazed. I just see people get hit when he was out, standing on his feet, knocked out, and got hit. It was just getting mollywopped. It was just sitting there. The refs didn't care at that time. I mean, they didn't care. It was just that it was just a brutal sport. That's why I tell people today don't play in the ring because it's a very brutal sport. You know, the dude Jeffrey legacy was, you know, the loss to Jack Johnson. Despite the loss of Jack Johnson, Jeffries was considered one of the era's greatest heavyweights. So he was good. He got admitted to the Hall of Fame in 1992. Now the next one we going with.
You have a second? Can you come down?
With Joe Louis. Joe Louis, man. It's a bad man right here. It's a bad man right here, Joe Louis. I like Joey Joe. You know, he faced, but Joe faced a lot of pressure though. You know, but his is pressure to, you know, credit to his race. You know, handlers, you know, gloating over the opponents or the white opponents. So he was heavy in that era where they was being real blunt, coming up real blunt about the, you know, racial discrepancies and all this type of stuff like that. How they felt. Yeah, and he was like Ali. He considered the racist. They considered him racist. The media is a bad place to be, man. I'm telling you, the media is. Boy, you think the media is bad now, boy? You can get the media is bad, but you can work with it and, you know, bounce back. But back in the days when word of mouth was word of mouth, and that was it. Well, you can come outside after that. After somebody said it was a rap after that, word of mouth is word of mouth. You couldn't get to so many people. So it wasn't no internet, so you didn't have no random people helping you. Just the same way you got random people destroying you, it wasn't no random people helping you. It wasn't no two sides. It was a word of mouth. So if you heard something in your left ear, you didn't hear nothing in your right ear. It wasn't two things coming. You know, every time you walked, it was the same thing. It was word of mouth. It wasn't, you know, they wasn't changing it up. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, but a lot of Joe Louis problems was financial problems. You know, he like playing those. He like, you know. Joe Joe was a playboy, but one thing Joe was doing in that, you know, his managers instructed him, you know, verbatimly, word for word. His managers instructed him to never be seen in public with a white woman, which Louis followed discreetly because it was real. And I know they say up here it was multiple marriages, including with celebrities like Lena Horne, Sonia Henny, and Lana Turner. And I know Sonia was white, if I'm correct. Let me see, I think this is up right here. If I'm correct, Sonia is white. And that happened, but yeah, this is up right here. Is she the white Jack? I think so. Yeah, I think so. That's maybe that's what they was talking about. I don't know, but that was a lot of his stuff. You know, a lot of Joe stuff was you know, there was women, and his main problem was taxes. You know, he had a problem. He had a problem spending that money, controlling that money. Managers was taking 50% of his money. I know that they took 50% of his check. Then he had to pay everybody else out of his check. So I know he was going through a lot of things. when it comes to finances, he was not good at that, as they say. All right, we go to the next one. The next one, man, Muhammad Ali. You know, it's a good dude here. This dude, he faced extreme scrutiny as he hated for his as he was hated for his conversion to Islam. When he converted into Islam and a political activist, that's when things got real, real bad. This is really back in the days, y'all. So it was really, and he was verbal. Muhammad Ali to me was like that's what I call Terrence Crawford. I tell you what, I call him a unpolitical Muhammad Ali. That's what Terrence Crawford to me. He's an unpolitical Muhammad Ali. You know, but Muhammad Ali faced a lot of scrutiny. You know, he was stripped of his every title in '67. You know, because remember that's when they used to draft you to the military. They used to literally like make you go. You know what I mean? You had to like yo, you gotta go. And he's like, man, I ain't going. Before they used to be really, really rough with it, but they start talking to you. But he just, his little celebrity status helped him a little bit, but he didn't care. And that's why we love Muhammad Ali. That's why he was bigger than, boxing when it comes to not the sport of boxing, but when it comes to the culture, our culture in boxing, he was bigger than boxing to us. To some people, they conceal his greatness, into boxing. You know what I mean? But at this time, a lot of the boxers, in these times, it wasn't about wins and losses. It was about fighting and challenging. It wasn't about wins and losses. Today's time is about wins and losses, not then. They cared about legacy and fight the best, and and keep fighting and stuff like that. It wasn't like today. There's nothing wrong with today because the day is the day, and the day is the way they do it today. So you can't knock it, but it's just not the way that I came in the love of boxing. And people think that it's, when I say that, they think that I'm crazy. I say, yo, I'm not crazy because I don't have to change. When it comes to boxing, I don't have to change to like boxing today. I can pick and choose what I like in boxing and who I like. I didn't have to do that before. So it wasn't like I had a choice because everything was really good when it comes to boxing. It was really good. But today's time, you got to pick and choose. You don't want to see this fight or that fight because a lot of the stuff don't make sense. It just don't make sense. But the love you have for boxing, you may end up watching some of these fights at some point. But now you're paying for it now. And, you're paying for things that you're not getting. You're not getting the fights that you want to see. People, you got boxers mad at the fans now. It's just out of control. But Muhammad Ali is somebody that I like what he stood for outside the ring. And it's a good thing because what he stood for our people. He didn't do it for himself. He did it for our people. When people get mistreated, uneducated, and he just didn't understand that. And he stood on that. He used this is one of the only celebrities that became a celebrity that used his celebrity status to still talk for his people. Because a lot of people don't do it. They have comments about things that happen. They don't stand for it as an activist. They may have a comment about something that you do to a black man, and their comment may be big, but it's more of a morale thing of hope up a crowd that's going to die down in a minute because you're not an activist. And this is why people ain't going to remember a lot of people a long time. They're going to remember them, because of their name and the sport they played, but not as somebody that took it to the level. You know what I mean? Like a Muhammad Ali that took it to a whole nother level. And they didn't care, a Colin Kaepernick, somebody that didn't care about the actual sport. They care about the integrity of their culture. That's what they cared about, and they felt that sometimes you'd be stepping on the integrity of my culture through the media and mediocre things. And you try to gaslight a lot of things and make people seem like they is like a dictator opposed to an activist. And that's what they do today. They manipulate situations, they manipulate your mind, they manipulate the radio, the TV, they have people just talking crazy. Because I mean, I can't, but a lot of people don't know. They truly don't know, and they refuse to do the research. But some know game. Like you can't fool all of them, and they all can't fool you. They all can't fool all us. We can't fool all them. We can fool a few. We can fool some, maybe more than more. Maybe the same way like her, but you can't fool us all. So that's why Muhammad Ali is always my number one. I wouldn't care about wins and losses. You could be 400-0. If you ain't step out and step for the people, I may be here right now for something that he said. Truthfully, they might have killed us all. You never know. Something that these leaders stepped up and said. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, you know, Ali, whoever spoke up and sat there and spoke up. You know what I mean? Yeah, I might be here because they said something right. Because it was powerful what they said. And it definitely toned down a little bit, even though it never stopped it. But we got your attention. Some of these people got your attention. Yeah. Yeah, you felt some kind of way at night. You had to wake up and have a talk about certain people. It's historically known. It's historically known. Certain people get to a certain limit. Y'all can't sleep at night. Y'all got to get up and have a meeting about this one person. And he ain't doing nothing now, but y'all can't tell the future. It's just so scary. They just do things because it's just so scary because they didn't invent nothing basically. You get what I'm saying? So you're scary. So every time you might seem like they're doing something, y'all just get crazy and y'all go to the extreme. No, seriously, y'all really go to the extreme. Like y'all wipe people out. Y'all just wipe them out. Just because you're paranoid. He ain't do nothing. He gonna do is box and talk about black people. To help with black people. But since y'all feel, you're just scary like that. That's how it be. But trust me, I live in it. They say Muhammad Ali threw his belt in the relate because he got racially discriminated inside the restaurant. Now, you got some people that, this a guy, what's this guy name? This biographer. Dude Thomas. Yeah, he said that he lost the belt. He never threw it in the lake. He said he lost it in the fight. Truth or not, don't matter. Because the point is, if he put the belt in the story, he didn't care about that belt anyway because the belt came from America. So he at that time, he had no problem. He told him to go fight for them and stuff like that. So the belt, the Olympic belt, to the story, that is a dead match to me. If he'd do a regular trophy away, America would have cared about that. But that Olympic belt going into the river, yeah, that's a mean statement. So whoever said that after that, I don't know. Tomato. Okay, my next one is the one that, these people got some controversies in boxing. Don't make no sense. These people, in particular, 5 people. But these 5 people in particular, it's not scandals, it's controversial things, and, but it's all based on being a black, great boxer. And this is what they do. It's my man Hagler. Hagler's another one. You know what I mean? And this is a couple of years later. So Hagler was when, boxing started, shaping. We started getting some middleweights in here doing their thing. You know what I mean? A lot of them, blacks is just dominating the sport. We just dominate. And at this time, they already had, what you call a Canelo today. They already had one. And at this time, it just happened to be a black man, which was Sugar Ray. Sugar Ray was like the face. He's like one of those first faces of boxing when boxing started going real commercial. Sugar Ray was there for that. That was around Sugar Ray time. I remember when Sugar Ray got all that money, lived in that big house with the picture in front with his wife in the back. I forgot his wife's name, but she was pretty, this slim lady. He had the long grass, and a big white house in the back. I was like, oh, he's living. At this time, I said, oh, he's living an American dream. And at this time, I was asking, educated as I am now, so about the American dream. But at this time, it was the American dream. And so and to see and to me, this is what was blocking Hagler, opposed to a lot of other stuff. But that's just my thing about how I feel about that. Without getting into everything else, is that I feel that they already had the thing, and Hagler was dangerous, and he was dangerous for Sugar Ray Belt. You know what I mean? And it was like it is today, but it just wasn't as much money, so it wasn't as much. It was a lot of publicity about it. But you remember what I said to you earlier. This is about the word of mouth stage. So the word of mouth, when it comes into the boxing, it was just that boxing culture. It wasn't really pulling in more people until it got a little different. Until the culture got a little different. And so Miss Bitch, Holy Queen, what's going on? That's a funny name. Holy Bitch Queen. I like that name though. Yeah, Hagler had everything. You're right about that, man. That was one of the and I feel like that was one of the reasons what held them back, because they already had Sugar Ray, and it wasn't like it was today. You know what I mean? It was different. It was just, I think at this time it was just forming. Getting commercialized and being on TV. You start seeing Sugar Ray running around, and Hagler he would have hurt that brand, and I think he did. I think he did. I think he really hurt that brand. He, even when he, in the fight, that's what they say. In one of the Hagler, not a scandal, but one of his, it made him stop fighting with that match. To the day they say that, Hagler won that. That's what they bring in 1977 Ring Magazine scandal. This scandal involved fight promoter, most notable Don King, inflating the records of certain boxers to secure them spot in the 1977 U.S. State Boxing Championship. Hagler was not under contract with King, was excluded from the tournament despite being being a superior fighter with a 46-2 record at the time. Hagler supporters, including Massachusetts lawmaker Ted Kennedy and Tip O'Donnell, put pressure on promoter Bob Arum to arrange a title fight for Hagler. And so that was in a controversial draw with Sugar Ray. No, not Sugar Ray, but Vito. What was his name? Antuofermo. I can't pronounce it. Antuofermo. In 1977, Hagler was denied a world title in a highly disputed draw against champion Vito Arto. I ain't gonna pronounce it. Many inside observers believe Hagler won the fight decisively. The decision added to Hagler's belief that boxing politics was unfairly working against him, like it always been. Yeah, Hagler was a problem, man. Like, if he was around for Hagler was a problem. Like, and the funny thing about it is that they say like Hagler and Crawford styles is the same. This Hagler was different. He was completely different. And Crawford my favorite fighter, but Hagler was completely different. You know what I mean? And I don't even compare them, to be honest, because they don't even fight the same. To be honest with you. Yeah, 100%, 100%. No, 100%. 100%. I agree with that. 100%. True story. Yes, sir. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. He said 1970, 1987. George Foreman, a biggie. Yeah, you scared of George too. I got a little bit of George here. And at the end of this real quick. They say the most famous controversy on Hagler's career was his 1987 fight against Sugar Ray Leonard. After a long hiatus, Leonard secured a fight, but instead of concession from Hagler, including the 12-round format instead of the standard 15-round, a larger ring, and a specific type of glove. The split decision win for Leonard was one of the most debated verdicts in boxing history, and left Hagler so disgusted he retired and never fought again. Yo, that fight was a fight, though. That was a fight. That was a fight. But to me, the best fight Hagler had was him and Tommy Hearns. If you would ask me, those and this is the word from my man Irony that he reminded me the other day. My man Irony, I check out his channel too. But he was like, yo, that was the best 8 rounds considered in boxing history. First 8 rounds. And I could definitely give a man a high some chat. I could definitely agree with that. And the last one on this list, because this is about the controversial, fighters, Black American fighters, the controversial ones that went through a lot of controversial issues inside boxing, and it was great. It wasn't like it was just. I think these people here, greatness superseded what boxing was meant to be and how it was meant to be controlled. Their greatness was bigger than that because their mental, where they came from, and how they see the sport and how they see things. It wasn't the way the boxing association wanted it to be structured because these people was too good. Yeah, he got that look. You see how Hagler got that look too. He got that look too, for real. Yeah, Crawford is the next one. That's the last one. Suit his form up. That's my next one. It's Crawford. So this is about we went through there was only 5 of us up here. I mean, it was only 5 boxes up here. We went through Jack Johnson, Joe Louis, Muhammad Ali, Hagler, Crawford. That was the 5 of the black. James Toney, that was my guy. That's my. I don't care if he fought 15 fights, more than he's supposed to. That was my guy. All day, every day. James Toney, that's my guy. That's my guy. James Toney, James Toney, yeah, that's my guy, man. That's my guy. All right, let me get back to this now. Crawford sued his former promoter Top Rank in 2022, alleging that the company owner Bob Arum has history of undervaluing and failing to properly promote his black fighters. So that's what I'm saying, though, man. Could that be real? And they could really be doing that, man. And so when Crawford did that, I really respect that. People think that he did a bad thing by doing that. I don't think he did nothing bad by that. I think what he did, he's supposed to do that. You know what I mean? I think that you're supposed to do that. When you that's why I tell you, see, people like these people that I'm talking about, these kind of people is different. They not like, yeah, they not fit for the mold of the boxing. They're not fit for that because they do. And only thing with Crawford, only discrepancy he ever had was in 2016 he had went through something in that little car place. What was that? A car place, something like that, like a body shop in Oklahoma. And the stop that just happened in Oklahoma too in 2025. So his main controversy was that Bob Arum thing, and that's why he up here with the Bob Arum scandal about the suing him because people ain't want to sue Bob because they thought that he was playing. They thought that when boxing was turning around, they thought that you can still do this type of stuff to people, and he wasn't going for it. They said he was wrong. I think it was the best thing to do. You look at him now, and Bob's still over there talking about nobody can beat him. You know what I mean? Business is business. Listen, say it again, Miss Bitch. I'm trying to tell you, man. And this time of greatness that these are those controversial people that they don't understand where they greatness is coming from. They don't understand where the controversy is coming from because they're so great and they ain't getting nothing, but they know they not. These people mess up people's plans. Everybody that we named in here, and from the beginning, go back and show you the whole five. See, that's Jack. See, that's the whole five there. That was Jack first. These are five that we talked about. Joe Louis, then Muhammad Ali, yeah, Bob did that, man. That's a fact. He did that, man. And you know it's factual when you go to court and win. You know what I mean? And so that's why I understand when people be talking and acting like people just be, they be acting like people just be bugging out. Like they act like people just really just be like just bugging out. I'm like, yeah, what you think? People just talking. So when you go to court and you win, then what? You know what I mean? And then what? What you do at that point? When you go to court and win, and then what? Was he lying or was he telling the truth? You know what I mean? Like, so what's up now? Now, here is an end of it where this week my little I always got a little in any live I have, I always got a little special little thing, and it's the most feared boxers ever from then to now. The most feared, not the best, nothing like that. The most feared boxers. You know what I mean? From top to bottom. It says this is not my man, boots. We gonna get the boots in 1 second. Let me do this. We gonna get right the boots in 1 second. Yeah, for real. This is the most feared boxers ever by boxing status. About worried about people say. You got Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is seen as one of the most feared boxers ever. That's what they say. They say Mike Tyson is one of the most feared boxers ever. That stare used to be crazy. That stare used to be nuts. Okay, you got Mike Tyson. This is the feared boxers ever. It's not in the list. It's not in the list. You know what I mean? It's not in the list. You got Marvin Hagler. Of course. You got Hagler. You got Hagler. These are the most feared boxers. And it makes sense though. You got Roberto Duran. These are the most feared boxers, and he was feared. Roberto Duran. I'm trying to tell you, Mike. You saw Mike used to Mike still remind me of when Hagley used to stare at you and how Crawford used to stare at you. Have you seen that way stare Crawford stared at Spence with that little head down like you in the street? You used to have a little head down and look like, man, you don't know what you get yourself into, homie. Like real rap though, you really don't know what you get yourself into, man. This is gonna be a long night for you, homie. And the way he looked at Max Morphine stare at him. He looked at Canelo. Canelo, he stared at him. He put his head down too. He didn't want to stare at him. But he caught him in the media conference. Yeah, he ain't want none of that smoke. He ain't want none of that smoke. Yeah, you got we got Sonny Liston. This another feared boxer. That's another one that was feared. Yeah, you crazy. They say I'm telling you. You ain't lie about that. You can see that still. You ain't lie about that. And Another one was what we got. We got Foreman. Foreman is one of the most feared ones too. George Foreman. That's another one most feared. Most feared was my man Jody George, and the last one is Sam Lanford. These people was just out of control. So these are the most feared. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Word up. But yeah, but you're right about that. Tell me about it. But Sonny was good. Even though Ali, you know what I mean, beat him, knocked him out. You know what I mean. But it was cool. Sonny was a down bad man, man. You had a lot of them, man. I see back then you had a lot of people back there that was just they was just that man. You like this fight, you could catch any fight, and it was a fight. You know, like what fight you caught, it was a fight. You said I'm quitting my job. I feel that. I feel that shit. You ain't lie about that shit. I feel that. Yeah, man. But that was a good joint I just did. Cause every time I get on, I be having a little pamphlet to do, a little something to try to educate these motherfuckers on this boxing, so we can stop talking crazy on these channels all day long, man. Trying to tell you, trying to tell you. I just had the whole segment on Ali, and when I was talking about him, I was like, yo, I like Ali. People like Ali. I like Ali more for what he did out the ring than what he did in the ring. Because what he did out the ring, what he did in the ring, he did for him with the perception of his people behind him and on him, and, fighting for his people. But that was all in his rage. And to me, what he did out the ring was for his people. That's why I love Ali. So whatever he was doing, it was for the good of the cause. You know what I mean? He never faltered, never failed, never, none of that. You know what I mean? He was just Ali was Ali. When you knew at that time when he refused to go to the wall, he didn't care about them stripping him. He cared about what he was scared about. Yes, he one of those people. Oh, was he one of those people? He said, you got to put that up there for the people in the cheap seats. They got to see that one. So that's for the people in the cheap seats. They got to see that one. You see, we have to fight. They might be up there in the cheap seats, so you got to put that up there on a banner. Ali did it for the people. I'm trying to tell you, whenever you take your greatness, your celebrity status, you get what I'm saying? This is when people thought different. Now people think for themselves. It's all about them, all about the money and all that. But at a time, it wasn't like that, and people don't understand how they, disrespect the legends that was here, because if they didn't do what they did, you wouldn't be getting no checks like they should be getting what they was getting. That's right. I'm trying to tell you. When they see you, and that's how they greet you. What's up? What's up? That's the greatest. What's up, champ? And sometimes you'll call somebody champ now out of respect when you see them. But we talking about those real champs. You get a little different. That's why it's a little different when you see, how you say, you may see AI. I mean, you may see, like, say Tatum, and then you see AI. It's a different feeling. You know what I mean? It's a different feeling. It's a whole different feeling, man. So that's why I love boxing. What? I'm never gonna let nobody steer me from the way that the reason why I love boxing. You know, I love boxing for certain reasons, like Ali. You know what I mean? And other reasons. That's why I love boxing, from seeing people really fight. You know what I mean? Seeing people really care about not, they don't care about the zero, because this fight and everybody odds is based on the challenge. It's not based on the you know, if he was to lose. There was different kind of fans back then. You know what I mean? These fans today is a little different. They kind of temperamental, real temperamental. You know what I mean? So you gotta really be easy with them, because they believe everything. So you gotta be easy. You gotta be easy with people that believe everything. You know what I mean? So that's how I see things. So, and on this channel here, we gonna kick it. We gonna talk. We gonna get right, facts. But we gonna keep it 100 though. We gonna have to keep it 100 here. We can't play on this channel. We gotta keep it 100. You feel me, Miss Bitch? Miss Bitch. I can't be calling you Miss Bitch. That's crazy. Ah. Yeah, but we gotta keep it 100 on this channel. That's how we move this thing. That's how we gonna get this thing to get. You know what I mean? Get right. Get this thing to get right. And, that was what I got 46 and going an hour. But yo, how you feel about the how you feel how you feel about the fight I want to see? I really want to see is the Brian Norman and Devin Haney. How you feel about that? Oh, that's what I was just about to say. I just said that to you. I wasn't even looking at the messages. I just said it to you, yo. I swear to God. But that's after I want to see that. Who you? I got Dev. I got Dev. I ain't gonna hold you with that one. I feel you with that. I feel you with that. I got you got Brian. Okie dokie. Oh yeah, I ain't nothing wrong with that. But you know, me personally, when it come to when it come to a fight like this, a 50-50 fight, I always go with the boxer. Always. You know what I mean? Oh, always. I always go with the boxer, because I'm just saying, like, if the boxer fighting a fighter, and the skills, it ain't about that no more. It's about the skills now, and the boxer at the end of the day was taught to box. You know what I mean? The boxer was taught to box. So listen, the boxer was taught to box. So Brad Norman is doing the crossover promotion with Bitch Made Promotions. Support. Nah, I feel that. I feel that. I definitely feel that. I definitely feel that. Yeah, I definitely feel that. I ain't even gonna hold you that way. But I'm about to Miss Bitch, thank you for coming through. Miss Bitch, thank you for coming through. I'm about to get out of here right now and sign off this joint. Be back on tomorrow. This thing gonna get crazy. I got a lot of things going on. Really, 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 really crazy. You heard me? Peace it out. Thank you for listening. Most support you. Like, comment, and subscribe. Or put your phone up there on the side right there. Just scan your phone so you can have your boy on your you know what I mean, on your joint. We get it right. Miss Bitch, thanks for coming through. Got nothing but love for you. Keep it up. I want to get back on that topic with that Brian Norman and that Devin Haney though. I want to do that for sure. Cause I don't know, man. it's not that I don't got, Brian Norman. I don't like Brian Norman. Don't get it twisted. It's just that it's a real 50-50, man. And I got the, oh man, I just think Dev got the smarts just to get around this little threat that's coming. I just strongly believe that. I know Brian ain't gonna let him run on that bike though. I know that for sure. So Dev, he have to fight his way out. So it's just the first one slip up from the normal routine. It's gonna be it's gonna be a long night. It's gonna be a long night. But that's gonna be a good fight. And I wanna see the Sam Noakes and Abdullah Mason. I wanna see that one because Sam Noakes, he not no pushover, man. Like he not I mean, I ain't saying he like that, but he just not gonna do that to him. I don't think so. Me personally. You know what I mean? But once again, host of 40, thinking outside the box. You know what we doing here, kid. We don't got no narratives. We ain't got none of that shit going on in here. We keep it 100. We feel the way we feel. You only good as your last fight. You know what I mean? You only good as your last fight. I don't want to hear about that resume shit. You only good as your last fight. Inside thinking outside the box. You only good as your last fight. You feel me? We only talk about what goes on in there in that ring. We don't care about what goes on out the ring. We don't care about your personal problems. We don't care about none of that shit. You shouldn't come up in here with none of that shit going on. Everything should be good. If it ain't good, we only go by what go by in the ring. I don't care you come in here talking about you had a headache or you had you know what I mean, your girl was bothering you or, whatever you got going on. Not in here. Nah, not in here, player. We think outside the box. I believe if you had a problem, why you come to the fight? Adjourn it. You can do that. Push it back. A little 50, 60,000, 100,000. Hey, it's worth you get your ass kicked. I tell you that much for sure. So we only go by what's going on inside this ring. So don't come in here talking about, my hand was broke, my eye, my orbital bone. What did you say about my whatever bone in my eye was broke 2 fights ago? I was in car crashes and a dog bit me. I was sparring and all of a sudden, what I mean, you had a hand injury. There's a million things to do. People do it. Fundora just did it. I told everybody. They thought I was playing. I was like, yo, one of these cats is about to call out right before the fight. Y'all think it's a joke? Keith, yo, listen, and Keith is my man. But I gotta go with facts. It is what it is, man. And I know Keith wanted to fight, but I know one of them was gonna pull this injury. And I ain't gonna hold you. I mean, I was still corrected because I really, really thought Canelo was gonna pull that shit. But Torque Crawford, I swear to God, I was like, he gonna pull out this fight. Watch this. But he went all the way with it, and it looked like he should have pulled out. It looked like he wanted to pull out if you see the fight. But we not gonna go there because that's another video. That's a whole nother live session. I got like a celebration with Canelo on that date. True story though. Peace it out. Host of 40. Love is love. Thinking outside the box, man. Like, comment, subscribe.